Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to your Friday early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom and some things for us to ponder. And I have no idea how what's in my head is going to come out in words, but we'll figure it out as we go, shall we? Good morning, Abigail. You're the first one here today. Welcome, welcome. There's Jonille. Good morning, good morning. Glad you're here. And so it was funny. I was sitting here doing some journaling because I ended up getting up early, and I was thinking, I wonder what is going to present itself to be shared with you today. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you're here. I saw your mom last night on the meditation Zoom. She was so excited she managed to get on by herself. So it was good. It was good. So in that meditation last night, I do it for the Episcopal Diocese of Northern Michigan once a week, and anybody can attend. It's a reading and breath work and a little bit of conversation and questions. Good morning, Mel. Saw you go rolling through. And so we were talking about the election and the results of the election, and watched a short video that was a perspective shifter. And then had some conversation. And I also had a Zoom yesterday. We're planning, good morning, Cindy, glad you are here. Miss Jonille and I are planning to do a series of videos working on how do we have conversation around things where people are diametrically opposed. We're going to start. Good morning, Renee. Haven't seen you in a while. Good morning, good morning. We're going to start with things around how do you deal with Thanksgiving this year? Right? So we're going to work on that on Monday. Hopefully we'll have something reasonable to launch on Tuesday. We'll see how it goes. But again, taking the war out of our words. Good morning, Janine. Welcome. We are, whether you're coming at it from a faith perspective, whether you're coming at it from a pragmatic perspective, whether you're coming at it from a divine feminine perspective, we are one. We are one. And to divide against ourselves is not a smart move. So we're going to practice some stuff. We're going to begin talking about, because again, this isn't how our language works. It isn't how most of us were raised. Good morning, Mara. I'm so glad you're here today. This is good stuff today. We're so steeped in the culture of us versus them that it's time to transcend. It's time to rise above all of this. And we can do hard things, right? We can do hard things. And so the words that I wanted to share today, I actually picked them out. The book picked me, but I picked the part we're going to be reading because I feel like it is the beginning groundwork for the transcendence that we're being set up to do here, right? It may feel like we're sliding right into the pits of hell, but good things can happen in the dark, right? So, and the little video that we watched last night, I posted it on my page. Hi, Beth. Glad you're here. The idea, one of the ideas was, this was an amazing sentence, but the gist of it was that the darkness is the tomb for that which is dying, patriarchy, white supremacy, all the stuff. But it's also the womb for what is being birthed. Loved that idea. Love that idea. So, taking the war out of our words, if you got the book, we're going to be on page 83. And I'm just going to begin with, I'm just going to give you the title, and then we're going to breathe a little bit. Curiosity didn't kill the cat. It won the Peace Prize. It won the Peace Prize. Do we need a whole bunch of Peace Prizes being handed out pretty quickly here? Hells yeah. So we can do this. We can do this. Sound not working, trying to figure that out. Okay. And if you have to go back and watch it later, fabulous too. However it works, we'll make it work. So we're sending good juju to Cindy's sound. We also want to send good juju to all the people who are struggling with what's going on right now, who can't wrap their brain around it, who can't figure out how are we going to dig out from this. Breathe. Let's breathe. Nice breath in and out. We can do hard things. In and out. One more. In and out. Hello, Angie. Glad you are here. And we have my favorite number 8 people here right now. That's fabulous. So I want to share this part, but I also want to, and I've got all these messages dropping in because I have all these conversations going about stuff. But again, the conversation that I want to share with you, 2 things. One, and if you're on my email list, you probably already got one email, but the irony of launching my coaching specials. I do coaching specials only twice a year. My birthday in May and November for Black Friday. And yesterday I launched my Black Friday one because it's the time. I do this every year. This is, I don't know what number year this is, since 2007. So I do this every year. The fact that it occurs now, the irony doesn't escape me. People need support. People need help. People need guidance. We can do this. So there's that. And then Jonille and I have been working on a project where we want to bring some disparate thought together and demonstrate, how do you have these conversations? How do you talk about the stuff where there's differing opinions? Most of us, if you did forensics, you might have some background and training in how you do this stuff, but most of us don't have a very diplomatic bent to how we talk about the stuff that matters. And how we approach stuff makes a difference, makes a huge difference. If you back someone against the wall and you're screaming in their face, what are you going to get? Claws and teeth bared. If you approach it from this perspective, chapter 6, the question, and not the baiting, provocative, poke questions that are designed to light up the other person like a Christmas tree, but the kinds of questions that help people discern, So that's what she and I want to do together. We want to demonstrate it. We're going to be learning as we go also. We talked with Morgan, who's my virtual assistant, who's going to be helping us with getting this on various platforms, etc. Hello, Bobby. Glad you are here. Welcome. My longest standing accountability buddy ever. Yay. But the idea is to help people find the words, to help people hear the tone, to help people learn as we learn. But Morgan is going to, at some points, also do some interviewing with the two of us. And kind of the way I'm looking at it is this younger generation that is bright and beautiful and amazing and whatever, asking questions of crones, wisdom women, etc. Good morning, Sue. Glad you're here. Welcome. So to have her asking us questions, does that mean we have the answers? No. But we have discernment. We have thought. Hello, Terry. Haven't seen you in quite some time. Glad you're here. And this is going to be really good stuff today. So, again, keep your eyes and ears open. We've got some stuff in the pipeline. We've got some really good things coming your way. You love the idea? Fabulous. Good. It is so needed. And we need to be able to bridge across political parties, age groups, gender, race, religion, the whole shebang. We need to be able to bridge these gaps kindly and lovingly. So let me read this section again. It's Taking the War Out of Our Words, the Art of Powerful Non-Defensive Communication. And I want to read the question. Curiosity didn't kill the cat. It won the Peace Prize. And I just want to read a portion of this and give us some grist for our mill. We're going to be learning a lot in the next chunk of time. We're going to be practicing a lot of new stuff. We're going to be growing and transcending and elevating way beyond the base level where some of us have operated. And we all operate there. We all fall into it. We need to be kind and loving with ourselves when we take a dive into the pit and then we scrabble our way back out. This is going to help. So, a couple of nice deep breaths. Let your shoulders drop. Breathe in. Spin open your crown chakra, receiving healing golden light. And breathe out. Good morning, Lisa. Letting go of all that no longer serves you. Moving yourself into this place of as neutral a space as you can be, to gather this information, to take what works for you, to leave the rest, to breathe into a new way of being, a way of being that helps you be in this divided world. Breathe in. Breathe out. Since dictionary definitions mirror common usage of a word, the fact that the word question is almost entirely defined as interrogation, or, if inquisitive is seen as prying, reflects a troubling common belief. Many people think that those who ask questions based simply on curiosity are sticking their nose in where it doesn't belong. An offensive, inappropriate, and possibly dangerous thing to do. Hang on. The message is that only those who are authorized to interrogate have the right to ask questions. And can you already see that militaristic, divine masculine run amok feel there? So it isn't hard to see why we often hesitate to ask questions for fear of being rude or intrusive. And when we do ask questions, it is easy to slip into interrogation mode, frowning, looking intense, and sounding accusatory. Why would that happen? It could be because we already know the other person has a different opinion. It could be because we know neither one of us has good skills at how to bridge the gap of those differing opinions. It could be this idea that asking questions is out of line and not our business, and so that angst gets in the question. Sincere curiosity is often the missing piece in our questions. Many of us were even actively taught to fear it. Parents who wanted to teach their children not to ask inappropriate questions repeated the old adage, curiosity killed the cat. Well, if curiosity killed the cat, I sure as hell ain't going to be curious, right? Kids aren't stupid. Curiosity is actually at the heart of any genuine question. A genuine question is a solicitation of information. I want to know your point of view. I want to see your point of view. I want to try to understand your point of view in light of my point of view. That's a whole different ball of wax from what we've been seeing go on, right? Hello, Lucy. Glad you are here. One of our Canadian neighbors. Glad you're here. Welcome, welcome. So, I believe we would have a decidedly different and healthier world if, as the saying went, ask all the questions you can think of. Curiosity wins the peace prize. Nature, curious and innocent. The character of a non-defensive question is never harsh, accusatory, or interrogating. It's gentle, respectfully offering others an invitation to speak. Think about that. If we whipped out the magic wand, where's my magic wand? Oh, it's hiding in here somewhere. Time to clean the desk. If we whipped out the magic wand and we went poof, and every question we asked was innocent, open, neutral, respectful, gentle, where do you think we'd end up? Where do you think we'd end up? It would be fabulous. Let's keep going. Innocent. Essentially, a non-defensive question is innocently curious, reflecting the purity of the child who asks how a flower grows or what makes an airplane fly. By curious, I mean eager to learn, know, or understand without any negative connotations. We ask a question solely for the purpose of discovery. We have no hidden agenda. We have no hidden agenda. No goal beyond wanting to clarify our understanding. Accordingly, I think the character of the purely curious question is inherently innocent, untainted with ulterior motives. How easy do you think this is going to be to accomplish, given the training we've already had, given the decades of living and asking questions we've already had? Ain't going to be easy. Is it worth the effort? Yes, 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 yes. All right? So, open. While we can easily envision this innocence in a child, it is hard for many of us to imagine asking a genuinely innocent question during a fight with our partner or in response to someone criticizing an idea we just proposed, or if we're on opposite sides of the political spectrum, especially the farther away from centrist we get. Yep, we can do hard things. Children want to know the answers to their questions. We often do not. Or we're asking in a baiting way to try to set the other person up to see how stupid they really are. Not helpful. Not helpful. In fact, when I ask people to think about asking totally non-defensive questions, someone periodically says, well, if I ask a really sincere question, then I would have to want to hear the answer. Ding, 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 ding. That is very true. The following story illustrates how hard it can be to ask genuine questions when we are afraid to make ourselves vulnerable by finding out the answer. Mina had arrived at an ongoing evening workshop in tears. She was a full-time homemaker with no income of her own. Her husband, Todd, had just told her he had come close to taking everything out of their bank accounts and leaving her and the children. Devastated, she had come to the workshop that night hoping to figure out what to do, how to talk to Todd about this crisis. We worked together, helping her practice asking and wanting to hear the answer to one simple question. What made you want to take the money and leave us? Can you imagine trying to ask that neutrally? You have no source of income, you have children to take care of, the source of income has said, and it's someone you love and you trusted, saying, I've seriously considered leaving you in the lurch, asking that question without all of that coming along with it. The idea of asking that question in a sincere, open way, after learning that her partner had almost left her with total responsibility for the family and no money, was initially incomprehensible, not only to Mina, but to everyone else at the workshop. We get it, right? We get it. Are not some of the questions that it will be good for us to ask going to be of this very same nature? Mina practiced asking the question again and again, but feelings of rage, despair, and pain radiated through her words. Can you see that in the questions many of us are asking it these days? You can see the rage, you can hear, you can feel it. On this call last night with people from the Episcopal Church, you could feel the guttedness of people. You could feel the hopelessness in people. And the bishop did a beautiful job of redirecting them back to, what were your baptismal vows? What were your baptismal vows? To take care of people, to do good in the world. Just go do that. Just go do that. So, the actual question got lost in the messages conveyed by her emotions. I can't imagine what I would do, and I feel so angry, so hurt, so betrayed. While it was hard for Mina and others to imagine being able to ask the question without emotion, each person in the room began to see clearly that her husband would not be able to respond openly to the question as long as her feelings permeated it. When her question was asked defensively, with her feelings soaking up any genuine curiosity, Mina sounded accusatory and closed to actually receiving the information. Everyone felt empathy for her pain, but could see that under the circumstances, Todd might respond with guilt or anger to the emotional message leaching through her question. I love how this woman writes. She so nails this shit. This is so good. The actual question might actually remain unheard, because all the emotion is what's going to be heard. Mina's situation exemplifies how hard it can be to take our feelings out of a question. When we hear something that feels offensive or hurtful or threatening, we often reveal our immediate emotions in our face. Good morning, Tara, glad you're here, welcome. I am no poker face. You can't play poker with me, I'll lose every time. It's evident. I personally like that in people. I like being able to read where they're at, because then I can respond accordingly, respectfully, even if we're pissed at each other. If I can see the hurt in somebody's eyes, I can respond to that. I can lower my voice. I can slow things down. I can be kind. Even if I'm pissed, I can be kind. All right? Psychological and anthropological studies have shown that people in a variety of cultures, even isolated societies, use the same facial expressions to show hurt, anger, fear, happiness, and joy. Any question we ask at that moment is likely to be contaminated by our gut response. The task of asking an innocent question at this point can be daunting, to say the least. But whenever we inject feelings like hurt and anger, the question turns into a statement. The question turns into interrogation, blame, whatever, right? Here we go. If Mina can do this, we can do this. Mina was able, with arduous effort, to come to terms with a genuine desire to ask Todd the question. I'm going to go back to the question. What made you want to take the money and leave us? And to sincerely want his answer, to be open to understanding. While it was incredibly painful to do, Mina could respectfully ask Todd what had brought him to the point of wanting to abandon his family, rather than use the question to accuse him of it. Neutral. As Mina worked to become open to taking her own feelings out of her question, her tone became more neutral, vital to a non-defensive question. Others sense this neutrality and are more inclined to respond sincerely. And again, even if at that point their sincere response is something that's painful for you to hear, or it's not an answer that you can get on board with, that's okay. The motivation here is to hear clearly, all right? In response to questions asked in a more neutral tone, people typically say, I felt like you wanted to know how I felt instead of just telling me your own reaction. I didn't feel pressured as if you expected a certain kind of answer from me, so I could tell you how I really felt. The question felt very calm to me, so it seemed safe to answer. My defenses dropped, and I felt compelled to answer the question sincerely. Most English speakers have been taught to come up in tone at the end of a question and down in tone at the end of a statement. I find that coming up in tone at the end of a question, however, often conveys more defensiveness, urgency, or expectation than if we come down at the end. So I'm going to take that sentence that they're working on. What made you decide to take the money and leave us? So I went down in tone. Now let's hear it the other way. What made you decide to take the money and leave us? Can you hear that little inflection difference make a difference in how that question is likely to be perceived? So what we've been taught to do in the English language, raise our tone at the end of a sentence. Good morning, Barb. We're going to have to run counter to that and practice dropping at the end of the question, at the end of the question. Practice, 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 okay? Most people tell me that when they hear a question asked in the tone of a statement, it sounds more neutral and they feel freer to answer truthfully. So dropping the tone at the end of the sentence or a question. Because a neutral question lacks emotional intensity, people sometimes initially describe it as monotonous, even insincere. This may be because people sometimes initially get a little tight when they try to ask a neutral question. Makes sense to me. They will stare blankly or intently, or their voices become flat in tone, sometimes even cold, which can mistakenly convey a lack of interest or even hostility. I think I would hear that as exhaustion if they drop the tone at the end, that they're just bleh about the answer. So this is a work in progress, right? This is stuff we're learning how to do. We clearly know that asking the baiting question gets us not where we want to go, right? So good to practice, good to practice. One way to avoid sounding cold and to eliminate tension is to imagine yourself as calm and relaxed. The picture that comes to mind is a group of people sitting contentedly on the porch of an old cabin on a summer evening as the heat of the day begins to wane. Watching some clouds begin to move in, one of them asks lazily, "Do you think it's going to rain tomorrow?" Not caring much whether it does or not. So that's the image that she comes up with. For me, what it would be is there needs to be breath. And maybe I would do 2 or 3 breaths, and then I would approach the question. One more paragraph here. Inviting. Our question should be a genuine invitation for the other person to speak. An inviting question asked in a gentle tone seems to create a feeling of safety in the recipient and a desire to respond. I don't think our question can be a genuine invitation unless we give up trying to dictate or manipulate how the other person responds. Again, we might not like the answer, or we might not agree with the answer, or it might not be our perception of how life works. But can we truly listen? Can we hear what that person intends and maybe why they intend it? Sometimes it's useful. So I'll give you one. I was working with a guy, older gentleman, who was court referred. Those are never fun cases. And he was there because he'd beaten the snot out of his kid. Okay? So he's court referred. He's sitting there with his arms crossed. He's pissed, blah, blah. And I was doing this gentle questioning, non-judgmental questioning. Do I like the fact that he beat the hell out of his kid? Of course not. Do I need to know what makes him tick? Yes. Question, 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 staying neutral, got down to the bottom line, which was, there's 2 kinds of people in this world, them that get the beatings and them that gives the beatings. Very clear understanding why he beat his kid up. So then we had to work on, let's look and see if there might be more people in the world. Let's look and see if there might be better ways to manage things. Let's look and see if we can help you heal the wounds that you're carrying from being the one who received the beatings. Okay, on we go. Sometimes people fear asking a non-defensive question because they see it as giving someone permission to dump on them. Mina might have been afraid that Todd might take her question as an opportunity to attack her verbally. I want to emphasize that inviting someone to speak does not give the other person license to abuse us. If the response is a cruel one, we can set appropriate boundaries. However, in a surprising number of cases, even in difficult circumstances, we certainly have difficult circumstances right now, I find that the other person is more likely to respond honestly and without malice to neutral, genuine questions. Mina did go home and ask her one sincere question. She returned the next week to say that she and Todd had the best talk they had ever had in their 12 years of marriage. So, what are your thoughts on this? What does this bring up in your thought process? And isn't this interesting? Here's that language thing again. What I wanted to say, what I've been trained to say, is what does this trigger in you? There's the warlike language. It's there all the time, all the time. So it's practicing, catching it, taking the pause, finding another word, saying it differently. So what is this? What about this intrigues you? What about this feels nigh on impossible? What about this feels good to you? Like, here's a portal, here's a pathway out of the mess we're in and into a higher order of being. Put some things in the comments. I'll answer as I go back and upload this, but I feel like this is a very powerful part of the process, that it's beyond time for all of us to be practicing, learning, etc. Yes, we need to change how we teach English to our children. We need to change how we use English with each other. We need to get good at picking out when the verbiage that we're going to use has that warlike quality to it. Fighting cancer, battling this, blah, blah, blah. Yes, triggered. Triggered's one of those words. Aim for. I'm going to aim for. It's everywhere in our language, folks. It's everywhere in our language. We just need to practice. We just need to practice. We can do this. We can become good at this. Remember when you were 8 years old and you sat on the front porch and you were practicing whistling and all of a sudden it worked. It took days though, didn't it? Learning to tie your shoes, how long did that take? Did you learn the bunny ears or did you learn the go around? It takes time. We were diligent then. We put in our effort. This is so worth our effort. Can it be frustrating? Absolutely so. Can we deal with frustration? Absolutely so. Have an awesome Friday, y'all. Breathe, smile at people, send good energy. We can do this. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.